Close your eyes for a moment and imagine late light behind a white-cloth screen. A single lamp throws giant silhouettes, heroes with curved crowns, monkeys poised mid-leap, demons with sweeping swords. The night is full of drum pulses and low chanting. Now ask yourself, what can this play, this dance of shadow and sound, teach a whole village about who they are? Welcome to Ancient Echoes. I'm Samnang Bradley, and today we move into the soft glow of Sbek Thom, the great Cambodian shadow play, and the living story it tells through the Reamker. Over the next hour, we'll trace origins, read the puppets like texts, listen closely to the music that animates them, and consider how communities keep this tradition alive.
In today's episode, we're exploring Sbek Thom, how a performance that stretches across hours and generations carries memory, moral teaching, and real social work for communities. We'll walk through its origins, the craft of the puppets, the ensemble that sustains a show, and what apprenticeship and sponsorship look like in contemporary Cambodia. What this reveals is how intangible heritage lives, not just in museums, but in fields, pagodas, and family gatherings.
Section 1. Context and Origin. The word Sbek Thom literally means large leather, referring to the large, intricately cut buffalo hide panels used to form the shadow puppets. The narratives performed are drawn from the Reamker, Cambodia's own retelling and transformation of the ancient epic known across South and Southeast Asia as the Ramayana. But the Reamker is not a simple copy. It is a Khmer story world where episodes, characters, and moral lessons have been reinterpreted according to local needs. Historically, Sbek Thom performances are tied to ceremonial life, royal rites, funerals, harvest celebrations, and temple festivals. They serve multiple functions: moral education, communal entertainment, ritual efficacy, and the reinforcement of social ties. When we say history of Sbek Thom, we mean both its deep roots around Angkorian ritual life and the ways rural communities made it their own over centuries.
The cultural significance of Sbek Thom is layered. From an anthropological standpoint, the performance encodes cosmology, lineage, and social order. In village calendars, a performance can mark a turning point, the end of planting, the honoring of ancestors, or the reaffirmation of communal bonds. Listen closely to how the stories are adapted. Local episodes, jokey town characters, and readings that emphasize compassion or bravery, depending on the audience and moment. The layers matter. This is living, adaptive storytelling, rather than a frozen relic.
Section 2. Puppet Craft and Visual Language, and Sound and Voice. Let's start with the puppets. Large, hand-cut figures made from treated hide, their surfaces etched and painted to catch light. A single puppet can be 2 feet tall or much larger. The scale matters because silhouette is the language. Heroes have balanced proportions and elegant crowns. Villains are carved with exaggerated fangs and jagged edges. Color and painted details are secondary to the silhouette when seen in shadow, but they matter during rehearsal and in daylight. Artists read them like costume notes. The wood frames and handles, simple, strong, allow a single puppeteer or a small team to orchestrate complex movement.
Now imagine the same scene with music, a small orchestra of percussion, gongs, and the plucked chape lute. The narrator, often a chanter, moves between speech and song, using shifts of pitch and rhythm to mark scene changes. Percussion marks entrance and exit, but it also cues laughter, sorrow, and the moments when invisible forces intervene. In performance, voice does more than tell the plot. It animates character. A low, resonant chant colors kings, a brighter, rhythmic cadence lifts monkey armies, and spoken aside comments invite the live audience into the world. The pattern shows us that sound and silhouette together create the moral and emotional architecture of the play.
To help you read a show from audio alone, here's a listening prompt. Notice how a sudden drum rhythm often precedes a revelation, a stolen jewel, a disguise uncovered, an accusation. When the narrator stretches vowels and slows cadence, a scene is asking for communal reflection. When the tempo tightens and calls and responses rise, the audience is being invited to laugh or take sides. These are not tricks. They are communal cues, learned across generations, that shape how a village experiences moral questions together.
Section 3. Transmission and Community Stewardship. How is Sbek Thom kept alive? Apprenticeship is central. Young people learn from elder carvers, chanters, and musicians. Not just technique, but context, the right time to perform certain episodes, and how to care for materials. Many troupes are sponsored by temples or by communities pooling resources. Diaspora communities also recreate performances abroad, adapting staging to smaller halls, but preserving narrative depth. The research tells us that preservation works best when it supports living practice, payments for artists, opportunities for younger performers to take leadership, and documentation that returns to communities as teaching tools.
There are challenges. Modern entertainment and loss of ritual calendars change demand, and young people often migrate for work. Yet local initiatives, apprenticeship funds, school programs that teach puppet making, and collaborations between troupes and cultural organizations are breathing new life into Sbek Thom. Consider this perspective. Sustaining the art is less about freezing an old form and more about supporting the social relationships that let it adapt. The deeper story is how stewardship creates new episodes of meaning for new audiences.
Listener engagement. I want to invite you to a short listening exercise. If you can, put on headphones and listen to a short field clip we've linked in the show notes. Focus on the interplay between voice and percussion. Ask yourself, which sound feels like it announces a moral turning point? Which silhouette might be speaking through that timbre? Then share your notes with us on social media or on Samnang's YouTube. Tag it with hashtag Ancient Echoes and hashtag Sbek Thom. The research shows that collective listening deepens understanding. Your observations help build shared knowledge.
Recap and call to action. Today, we've walked through the history of Sbek Thom, learned to read puppet silhouette and music, and considered practical ways communities transmit this tradition. If this episode inspired you, please subscribe to Ancient Echoes, follow us on social media, and check out Samnang Bradley's YouTube channel for visual tours and linked resources. If you're able, support local heritage groups doing apprenticeship work. Donations, workshop attendance, and respectful documentation all help. Let's unlock the echoes of history together. For recommended readings, craft tutorials, and field recordings, see the show notes.
The echoes of the past live on in people's voices, memories, and everyday lives. Thank you for listening and for making space for these stories. You can connect with us at our social handles and on Samnang's YouTube. Share your questions, photos, or notes about Sbek Thom performances. Until next time, thank you for listening to Ancient Echoes. Let's unlock the echoes of history together.
In the quiet of night, I whispered my plea, holding her close, hoping for her decree. I called upon spirits, asked them to guide, to take her heart and lead her by my side. So I drew her near, traced her brow so fair, my sight is way. Sacred power, swai, mighty spirit awakened. By the master's right, let her heart be gently taken. Let her follow me now by vow and by sign. I hear these words, oh teacher, witness this plea. Oh, my sacred power, swai.